Yo, it's your boy DT from DT's Unfiltered Uncensored, and you back on part 2 of my series, The Journey in Music. And we recorded this in the month of Black Music Month of June. Now, I'm not sure I'm not sure when it's going to be released, but this is the time we're recording it. So I just want to let everybody know this. We're talking about it in the month. We should be talking about it. And once again, I'm joined with my guests once again on my show. I'm dropping my phone and stuff like that live on the show. Gotta have my notes in front of him. Joining my guests on the show, to my right, which is your left, is the one and only, lovely, beautiful, all the way from Atlanta, but born and raised in South Carolina.
That's right.
Keisha, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Glad to have you back. And to my left, which is your right, is the guy who's behind one of the best Instagram music podcast platforms. Podcast, but he is one of the best. Definitely make sure you go follow him. SoulFace Music. He has the battle of the music. I love to see the competition. I wish Janet would show up a lot more in his battles, even when it's not her year. I mess with it. I do. But like, even if it's a 70, just throw a Janet song, and I even know it ain't got nothing to do with it. No, I'm just kidding. Y'all know I love Janet. Welcome to my show, Shad, aka SoulFace Music.
What's going on, you guys? They Shad Cox, SoulFace Media. I'm from South Carolina as well, and thank you for having me back.
No problem. I'm glad to have you all back. So we're about to jump into
The 80s,
the 80s,
baby. Let's
the
do it.
80s music,
Let's do it.
which had a lot of influence from the 70s to the 80s. A lot of artists who started out in the late 70s blew up in the 80s, such as Michael Jackson,
Absolutely.
Prince, y'all girl Shaka Khan, Patti LaBelle, it would go on and on who came
Desmond
from
Champagne King.
yes.
Honey.
Yeah.
Even Marvin had a little influence in a little bit in the 80s. We had Stevie Wonder, so we could go through all that. People Bryson.
You actually went through the 80s.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we could just you jumping all to that. But when you think of the 80s, to me, it's two artists that really stand out in the 80s.
Okay, go for it.
And they always pitted them against each other, which I think it was a rivalry, was Michael and Prince. Oh, I see different faces over here. Boy, I love those special tells a lot when I see
I mean, you can choose them too. I mean, they're great. I mean, of course, I would choose Mike too, but I got to go with my Aquarius brother, Mr. Bobby Brown.
that. I'm,
Ooh, ooh, same birthday and all. That's my boy.
I love Bobby, but
We gonna get into it. Go ahead, Todd. What you got?
I don't think he was finished. He was finished.
Nah, he was talking a little shit, but
I love Bobby. My prerogative. I love Bobby, but okay.
Mm,
Bobby.
we'll get into it. Absolutely,
My prerogative. Yeah,
absolutely.
cool. Okay. When you
Oh man.
I wish I had a shot right now on that.
Come on, my boy gonna get in a Teddy Riley over there.
Okay. When you think of the 80s, I said Michael and Prince.
Hmm.
She said Bobby B. My prerogative. Who do you think of when you think of the 80s? Who stand up to you?
Just one
But
artist.
you could be like I said, Michael and Prince. You could be two. He said Bobby.
If it's just, I mean, I guess if I do single male artists, you know what I'm saying? Definitely Michael and Prince for sure. Females, when I think of the 80s, Whitney, Janet, of course, Sade, Anita Baker,
Tina Marie.
Tina Marie, yes, most definitely. I even bring Rick James in because he came
Yeah.
out in the very late 70s. And so the 80s is where I feel like that superstardom took place for him. Then migrating into the late 80s, I would say New Edition, even though they broke out in the early 80s.
Hmm.
Bobby Brown and his career, his
Thank
full
you.
career.
Thank you, friend.
Real quick, I want to apologize, and I know I just realized that we did not even say nothing about the Commodores or Smokey Robinson and the Miracles in the 70s. I really, we
But
really,
I mean, the Miracles was really like the 60s.
but they would still have the 70s. We didn't mention them. I should have
the
mentioned them.
Commodores,
I
Yeah.
love the Commodore. I
It's
love
okay.
Lionel Richie. So I do.
All right.
Oh yeah, no.
Shout out to them.
Oh, never mind. She didn't like them that much.
What?
Oh, you getting into it? Let's just
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I meant to say that real quick, but no, you said a lot of great artists that came out in the 80s and Bobby Brown. And, yeah, I think a lot of when you think of a lot of the also that's when LL Cool J, you gotta look at LL hip hop
Oh
star,
yeah,
KRS-One, all them came out.
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy came, yeah. So that's a lot when it comes to the 80s. But
Rock.
I mean, I think hands down, me personally, when 80s, you think of 80s, the first person you think of is Michael. I'm being hand down, Michael would be the first person.
I mean, yeah.
Even Prince was good, but you still thought of Michael
Right.
Yeah,
first.
that's the typical answer for everybody.
Yeah, that's the one who don't really know nothing about.
Yeah.
But when you know people that listen to music like us, you can think of a whole bunch of
Right.
artists
And
that
Michael is so multi-generational.
Yeah.
It's another page, music sermon. She does a music challenge every year during Black Music Month. And I think one of the prompt for one of the days earlier this week was like, who's your favorite multi-generational artist? You know, Michael is definitely multi-generational because he was running shit in the 70s, 80s, was like a huge madman, and did his big one in the 90s too. You know, was still even producing music in the 2000s, you know, which people weren't really kind of tapping in as much. But I mean, like, for 3 generations, you know, like he really had his foot on everybody neck.
Oh, for sure.
You know, so
For sure.
Michael hands down.
See, there's a couple other people we cannot forget about. We can't forget about Public Enemy. They were fighting for the people, their music. We also look at Atlantic Star, the SOS band, Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious 5.
SOS, man.
You gotta look at everything. De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest.
Oh, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I guess this would be like a fun fact. A fun fact. My name is Dayshard Cox. And the day in my name, my mama pulled from De La Soul.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
I just found that out. Interesting.
You were born just today. Just found out. You learned that today. I just learned that today.
Yeah.
You know, also we ain't talking about Sade.
I said that.
Oh, you didn't say Sade. I'm sorry. Sade, Anita Baker.
Said it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were so fixed. You were so fixed on Keisha and Bobby Brown. You probably had missed.
Yeah, Bobby Brown. Cameo.
Yeah.
Oh, word up.
George Clinton.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a lot of people that when it comes to the 80s that really stand out in the 80s. But of course, like I said, it goes back. Micah is the one who really, especially that Thriller album, that was
Oh yeah. I still have the double disc CD my brother bought me, like a collection. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's literally a skip. I mean, like a no skip album.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a no skip album for sure. And just about every, because it's 9 songs. It's a 9 album. It's a 9-song album.
That's all it needs.
And I think the only song that wasn't a single was Baby Be Mine. I think every other song was the single, if I'm not mistaken.
I love Michael. Michael, one of my favorite all time. He's definitely number 1 on male list.
Yeah.
I didn't like that album. I wasn't Thriller.
What Thriller?
I wasn't Thriller fan.
I don't know.
I didn't like the video. I didn't like the song.
I was about to say something, but I know we can't curse.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. You already know what I was about to say.
He done lost his damn mind.
No, I wasn't. I love Michael, but I wasn't.
Fucking lying.
I didn't like Thriller. I didn't like the song. I wasn't a fan of it.
Like the song Thriller.
I know I like the songs, but I didn't like that song or the video. I didn't like that.
Okay, I thought you meant the album.
No, I'm talking about that.
Okay, I was about to say.
I wasn't a fan of the album, but I liked that. The album was good. It wasn't my favorite Michael album. I like that.
But even Thriller, like I'll I'll play Thriller when I get ready too.
When we get in the car, that's what we
Yes.
do.
The bass line, man.
No, you just give me.
And speaking of the Thriller album, another songwriter, producer that we didn't mention from the 70s was Rod Temperton.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, Heat Wave, you know, all them big songs from Heat Wave, Boogie Nights, and Always and Forever. You know, he's responsible for that.
You about to make me start singing Always and Forever. I love that song. But I love Michael Diehard. I mean, that's like he's number one. He's number one male artist of all time, in my opinion. But I just wasn't a fan of the song Thriller nor the video. Every time
Were
the
you
video
scared of the
Are
video?
you saying
no,
Thriller?
I didn't like the no, it was
Are you saying Thriller itself or the album?
song.
Oh,
the
just the
song.
song.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I
the
thought you were
song.
talking
Yeah,
about
the
the whole
song is
album.
like
No,
that bass line,
the song.
man.
Oh no, I love the song. I used to be
Yeah, I
afraid of
love
the
the
video, but
song.
now I'm just like I watch it like, why was I afraid of it? No.
That's my song.
No,
man.
because when that
Turn on
came
all the lights in the house.
No. When that came out, I was still, a legit. But nah.
So,
Yeah,
so
I
you
mean,
don't
'cause
turn all the lights on now
Thriller-
when it's on.
No. No, because I love horror.
Oh,
I
okay.
love horror and
And I
gore.
love when I was young. Matter of fact, I was in the second grade. Because music has always been
Yeah.
always been a thing for me my entire life. But that year, my mom was like, I'm not getting y'all nothing for Christmas. She said she wasn't getting me and my sister nothing for Christmas. And she didn't. I guess we wasn't doing our best, like behavioral wise or whatever the case may be. But that year, this was Christmas 1998. She got me the Michael Jackson. It wasn't the greatest hits, but History. You remember that album? And he had like a bunch of. It was like a compilation. She gave me that tape, and then she got my sister Janet Jackson Design of a Decade. That VHS tape with all the music videos on it, and that was probably one of the best things my mama could have did for us at that time. I still got both of the tapes.
Child, how much money they were?
I'm gonna tell you
how much money they worth.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but I still got both of the tapes.
You never know.
We ran them. We ran them tapes in the whole.
Again, that's actually my favorite Michael album, History, because we got
Okay.
all
Right.
I love. Then got all his classics. Then they got the new ones, and some of his like Earth song is like one of my favorites. And then You're Not Alone. Boy, I try to hit that note. He sing at the boy, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, Cal's did his big one.
Okay.
Cal's did his big one on the pen and the production.
Yeah.
You know, hey.
So, I'm still thinking about Bobby Brown, but we're gonna.
You don't get it.
Going from male to female, the queens of the 80s, which we have a lot of them, quite a bit, but the one who have lasted the test of time, and regardless, recipe to one of the greatest voices of all time, we got Whitney and Janet. It was like they were the caliber. They lasted the test of time when it came to. We got, and like I said, we got a bunch of them that's hot. I'm taking nothing away from Anita Baker, taking nothing away from y'all girl Shaka Khan. I ain't taking nothing away from Patti LaBelle, all of them. But that's where they started at, them two, and they rose throughout the years. And I think they have remained relevant in a sense, even though Whitney has passed away. We still today look at some of the greatest artists, Beyonce, Jennifer Hudson, that all Whitney opened it.
Whitney inspired.
Yeah.
And then you have the Britney Jennifer Lopez. Sierra. I like Sierra. I get Sierra.
Who don't want to be like us?
Like Janet. They open up doors, but who you say?
Who does not want to be like us?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Culture.
I thought you talking about. I thought you done giving Jennifer Lopez props. Who? Well,
no.
She just cancel her tour. Her tour ain't even doing good.
She gets a lot of flack for whatever reason. And like we were saying earlier about the cancel culture or whatever the case may be, like a bunch of like when I put J-Lo in to my matches, like people have a fit for whatever reason. I'm just like her vocals, she's not the best vocally, but that doesn't mean that she didn't put out some decent songs. And I'll actually like the songs. So I'm gonna put what I like. Even some of the matches I put songs that I might not be a big fan of it because it might have been popular to the masses, or that doesn't take away from how well a song did on the chart or how popular it would be. It may have been. Don't mean that I'm not going to feature.
All of them were inspired.
Just let you guys up. I haven't seen him yet, but you throw J-Lo and whatnot, I'm gonna be one who will spam you as well.
She's been in a couple of
I
them.
haven't seen it, but I would have said, really, J-Lo? Okay, I'm picking the other side just because J-Lo's
Yeah, a lot of people they do that. They'll be like, "Oh, well, I'm going for this year just because you
I
pick."
don't hate on her.
This,
I mean,
but yeah.
But I'm sorry, we jumping ahead on that. So getting back to the queens, like when you think of R&B queens, pop, or anything in 80s, who are the artists that come to mind for you?
like you said, Whitney, Janet, Cheryl Lynn, Encore. That's me and my mama's favorite song. There's so many, but Cheryl, that's my girl for real. Her and Luther, yeah. Cheryl, that's
Oh
my
Oh yeah,
yeah,
girl.
Luther.
Luther.
Yeah.
A
Mm-hmm.
house is not a home.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luther for sure.
Yeah, I love Luther. I'm about to say a song, but that's in the 70s. Never Too Much. I know that's back in the 70s.
No, that's 1981.
It's 81.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, 81. Okay. My bad. Well, I was okay. But he had that 70s look in that
Right.
video. But yeah. Yeah, Luther. So, but when you think of females from the 80s, who pops in your mind?
Outside of Whitney and Janet, Anita Baker, because I guess I might have kind of jumped the gun earlier, but Anita Baker, Sade. I don't know why my mind running blank, but for sure Anita Baker, Sade. Who are some female artists that stood out? Even I'll say this, even in the 80s, it was still like very heavily male dominated because it's like
Yeah.
that too when I put matches from the 80s, especially the late 80s. Who were some groups?
Salt and Pepper.
Yeah, Salt and Pepper.
Salt and Pepper. Jody
MC
Watley.
Light.
Jody Watley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jody Watley.
Evelyn.
I'm not really
Can't
a
forget
big
about Evelyn King.
Evelyn
yeah.
King. Paula
I'm
Abdul.
not like really big on Jody Watley.
She got a couple here and there. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about
Tina.
Oh
Tina
yeah, I
Turner?
love me some Tina Marie.
Tina
Yeah.
Marie, yeah,
Marie.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Tina Turner definitely made her comeback in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know what else love got to do with it and Private Dancer.
Mm-hmm. What about you? You sticking with Janet?
Janet,
That's it.
Whitney, Paula Abdul,
Who?
Paula
Paula
Abdul.
Abdul.
I mean, I know, but that's why I said who. Like
Ooh,
that, because you gave me that face when I said Bobby,
I know.
and you gonna
But
say
no, but
Bobby?
I said I was just giving them women. I didn't give like number one was Paula. You
Yeah.
gave Bobby.
Go for it. If that's your girl, hey, go for
Paula
it.
Abdul. You threw me out track. I had somebody else's name in my head, but Vanessa Williams.
Oh yeah, and this is now that you mentioned Paula, this is my take too. I'm like, why she don't receive the same flack as J Lo? Because they damn near sound the fucking same.
Well, because Paula Abdul everybody still look at Paula Abdul as black. I mean, regardless of her, people give her a black card. She got a black card. Paula Abdul got a black card.
She don't get no black card from me.
She did a little bit of choreography. Like, is that I'm not
I
understanding.
mean,
She
Hey,
invited to the cookout.
okay, she can go to your
She
cookout.
don't come to your cookout.
No, because Bobby Brown gonna be there.
By then it's something together, so they probably be good together.
That's my boy. Like, I'm good with nobody to say.
I fuck with Bobby too.
I like Bobby too. I
Hard.
just when I think of 80, I'm like, ooh.
Oh, absolutely.
But I was having a
Man,
conversation
we talking about
with my
drugs now.
mom
Thinking about
because don't do that. Don't do Bobby.
Don't do my boy.
Don't do Bobby if you're not gonna do Whitney.
If you're not gonna do Whitney, but we ain't even gonna talk about that.
we're gonna leave.
We ain't gonna
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize, Bobby.
It was a clip. One of my favorite songs by Bobby is "I'll Be Good." I don't know if it was like an official single or not, but he did perform it on 227. And
that motherfucker was hopping. You
yes,
hear me?
that nigga was getting it. Like he was getting it, man. His
I
energy,
love that episode.
his energy was out of the world. And I was like, and because I was born in 91, I wasn't able to experience the 80s in full. I mean, in real time,
Yeah.
you know, so I had to ask my mom. I was like, Mama, like, was Bobby like really a big thing in the 80s? And she was just like, yeah, like he was really like that. Yeah,
He was the
very
man.
popular.
He was the man. Johnny
the man?
Gill. He was the man, yeah. I mean, yeah, Michael Jackson. Ooh. But
But you know, when his solo career really ushered in, it was the late '80s and the New Jack Swing era.
Right.
You
That
know,
was
so
him.
the whole sound had shifted
Yeah.
from what it was in the beginning to mid
Even
'80s.
with New Edition.
Yeah, they
I already
sound.
knew on what Mr. Telephone Man that he was just gonna he was it. Like he was gonna stand out just from that song. Yeah. It's his way or no way. That's why we get along.
Bobby Brown. Cool. Bobby Brown. Got nothing good about Brown. I'm very honest with you. I love Bobby. I love Bobby. I love the wild side of Bobby. That's entertaining. He's very entertaining. Are you gonna go see them in Vegas? Or you gonna fly?
I have not gone to see him in Vegas. No, didn't they just have like a little small
I
residency
think they
or
supposed to do
something
it again. I think they
with New
probably did.
Edition?
Was that last summer? Or was
No,
it
they
this
doing
year?
it. I
I'm about
think
to
it's
say
No,
this
it was
year,
this
right?
year. Yeah, it was this year.
I thought.
I thought they still doing that.
Yeah, I think
I think it was
it
in the
might be
beginning
like.
of the year,
I think, but it was twice. I
I think
think
it's
they had
extended.
one.
but it was
Oh,
like
no,
limited
they got another
shows.
come
And
on.
then
No,
it's like another one.
they
I
got
think
another
in
come up in
July
summer.
or
In
something.
July,
Maybe
they got
like
one
the
in
end of
July.
this month of July or
Let's see your
something.
boy Bobby.
I'm going to
Yeah.
see Tony. We'll get into Tony. Speaking of, yeah.
Okay, you're gonna get to the 90s in the next episode. Sound like Dr. Dre in the next episode. Okay. Let's talk about the crossover from hip hop when hip hop started. Because hip hop started it kind of started in the 70s a little bit because they started doing a little more towards the hip hop side. Because you had who was the one that was on no, that was the 80s. Okay, I'm thinking somebody. It was somebody who was on. No, because that was the 70s when What's Happening Now was on. Because they had hip hop artists. They had a couple art. Wasn't What's Happening? What's Happening
It
was
was
in
in
the
the
70s.
'70s.
And they had, but it wasn't big. It was just like locally. But it then kind of blew up in the 80s. Then we had people like Run DMC, KRS-One, um, Houdini, all them.
Yeah, that's my mom and my daddy group. Houdini. Yeah.
What you think about that? Tell me your thoughts on the hip hop crossover when it came over to the 80s.
Well, Rappers Delight dropped in '79, and I guess that was considered like the first commercial hip hop song. Very legendary. I just feel like, just like anything, like the sound continued to evolve. Um, Not saying that it was like disco, but it had like a more like a,
Upbeat.
like a
Right.
funky type of, and then by the time LL came out in what 84, 85, and Def Jam took off, the sound was like a little more like simplistic but hard hitting with the bass, and it they had more groups, like you
Yeah.
just mentioned, like Houdini and everything. So
Yeah, when it comes to hip hop in the 80s, I'm not even gonna hold you. Like I'm an R&B kind of girl,
Mhm.
so I couldn't really tell you
Okay.
much about the hip hop. I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, I was more R&B, but then I think of some that certain songs stand out. Like the prime example, when Run DMC did "Walk This Way" with
Yeah.
yeah, crossing over the
Crossing
pop,
Yeah.
with a
Like
major
I know
major pop
some
band.
songs, but
the LL Cool J, "Mom Said
yeah.
Knock You Out," and
Even I feel like with Dougie Fresh and Slick
Yeah.
Rick
Okay.
in the show, I feel like, and Teddy Riley, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people didn't
Yeah.
even really know that was like Teddy Riley's like first like
yeah,
produced song that had really gotten any traction.
Mhm.
And I feel like even from the show dropping in what 85, by the time Keith Sweat dropped his album in 87, like his whole production style had changed. It sounded completely different.
we didn't
I
even
guess
mention.
missing the hip hop with the mixing the hip hop sound with the R&B vibes, making.
And we didn't even mention Keith Sweat either.
I did too.
He
You did?
did.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
did. I think I was stuck on the Bobby one.
Yeah, you was stuck on my boy, so it's
Bobby.
all
I
good.
apologize.
It's all good.
Bobby, I apologize.
It's all
I'm
good.
progress. Apologize. Bobby, man, though.
It's
I ain't got nothing. No addition. Johnny Gill was the man. Top
Absolutely.
Trezor and Bobby.
Hmm. Huh. But who had the bigger career, but it's okay.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. Johnny up there.
Johnny was up there, but he was not beating Ralph.
Yeah,
And we already
yeah.
know Ralph wasn't
We know Ralph wasn't, but
one song. Yeah, one hit wonder when he came solo. But continue. Sorry. We ain't
you ain't gonna do Ralph. We ain't gonna do Ralph
I
traveling like
love
that.
New Edition. I was a part of the group.
You what?
Yeah.
I thought I seen you in the video.
You did.
Hey, okay, yeah, I remember you in the background dancing.
No, I was a part of the group.
You were.
Yes.
You were the seventh member.
There you go.
You was with them when it was all together.
Yeah.
When they were coming home, they
Mhm.
come on group.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, man, you was underage at the time, huh?
Yeah.
You were singing. You sing on the parties, huh?
Absolutely.
We just acting a fool right now. So I think, and I know y'all can tell me if I'm wrong. I think the '80s is when, even though it was still a male dominant era, I think it's when women start taking more control of music and empowerment. And I think that when start slowly from '84 on, it started shifting to women was dominating the music airways because you had the men. We of course we had the Michaels, we had the New Edition, we had the Bobby, we had the Prince, we had the Luthers and stuff like that. But then slowly you got the Janet, the Whitney, to Anita Baker. Then they start taking over and they start producing more hits. And I know you do a lot of battles.
Mhm.
So I know I'm asking you this when you start looking at like the battles and the competition from the '80s on to the beginning like '89. Do you see more of women started to dominate the charts compared to the men?
More than the 70s for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, definitely more than the 70s. I feel like in the 80s it was still more of like a group, more groups. You had like the Pointer Sisters, you had Sky, Evelyn Champagne King, who else?
Cheryl.
Patrice Rushen. Ooh, damn. We didn't even bring her up. But you still had, but they weren't getting the due that they really necessarily deserve. I feel like if it wasn't like a group, but
Mm-hmm.
by the middle 80s, I feel like that's whenever, like you said, maybe like around 84, they started kicking the door down
Right.
more. They brought Whitney out. Janet wanted to do her thing, solo or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so I'll say about the mid to late 80s. But also I noticed too, um, even though females were kind of like stepping out there a little more, it was still kind of like marginalized because sometimes, especially like in the late 80s, it's kind of hard trying to find like two different female artists to put up against each other in the match, depending on the years that it is. It
Right.
is it is a little more difficult without trying to like repeat songs because I have this thing where I pride myself on because it's hundreds of songs released every year, and I feel like my taste in music is kind of broader than most. So like I believe in mixing up the mega popular hits with the underrated hits or what people might call like a
Yeah.
B-side or album cut that people still might know, even if it had a music video. Because typically I try to use songs that have music videos, but you still have some larger, more popular hits that don't have music videos, especially like back in the 70s. So unless they were doing like a performance on Soul Train or something, it's kind of hard to find like a music video for those. But yeah, I feel like the '90s is whenever it really kind of took a bigger kick in
Yeah.
regards
Oh,
to
for sure.
female dominance. But
I feel like
definitely in
90s
the
was
late
dope.
'80s, even in the hip hop sector, you had Roxanne Shante break through, then MC Light and Queen Latifah and the real Roxanne and Salt and Pepper,
Yeah.
JJ Fad, different groups like that. You
My
started seeing
cousin
more
had Salt and Pepper tape. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
female presence. For
Mm-hmm.
sure.
But even though it was a male, still somewhat a male dominant era, besides Michael, the next two biggest selling artists in the '80s were Janet and Whitney.
Mhm.
So it was top three. They was that, and you had other artists, but it still was a male dominant era. But I think like when they popped into the scene, because I feel like really it kind of shifted because they were doing what they wanted to do. They wasn't doing what everybody wanted them to do. And I think that made women empowered to do it because I think sometimes women in the 70s did do what they want to do in a way, but they still had restrictions. They had to
Yeah.
follow certain guidelines. And I think when Whitney and Janet, when they came out, they started pushing the envelope to another level. Say, okay, so y'all wanted this,
Right, that's
but
what
this
the
is what we're
whole
gonna do.
right. That was what the
Especially Janet.
that was what the whole Control album
Yeah.
Yeah.
was about. You know, her taking
'Cause
control and you know.
funny fact, a lot of people think this, and I always tell people that like hands down. People think I actually became a fan of Janet because of Michael, and it's actually the opposite, other way around. I
Mm.
wasn't a fan. I was a fan of Janet, and then I became a fan of Michael.
Mm.
And a lot of people sit there think, "Oh, the only reason you like Janet is because no." I'll be honest. Ask my mom. Ask everybody. I actually like Janet, and I think when it first started out, it was more of a trash. I was like, "Oh," because it was like '87 when I first. I was like, "Damn, you're cute." So I seen the video. I'm like, "Okay." I used to follow. Oh, I told my mom that.
What video was the Pleasure Principle?
Oh,
When you said 87, I was just like,
yeah, that
talking about Pleasure Principle.
and that's why I just started looking at everything. I told my mom, I said, "Ma,
You're
yeah,
in love.
that's my
Yeah.
future wife right there." And it started out with like I ain't gonna say my age. So, but no, it was that I was like, "Oh, I fell in love with her." Damn, slowly I just started listening to her and listen to. And I think
I love
about
Janet.
time to '89 when Brother Nation dropped out, and I
Mhm.
started listening to the music. I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh, I like this music. And then I started listening to boom, boom, boom. Then boom, Michael. I started listening to Michael because of Janet.
Mm.
Then all of a sudden I just started listening and dialing to Michael, and then it went tit for tat. And then just like when they came out with Scream, it was like you
Yeah.
could jump into the '90s, but they were
Yeah.
like I was like,
That was something that I was able to experience.
Mm-hmm.
but and I know she was actually part of the New Jack Swing era too with her music. She was part of that group when they started doing that. And of course, Bobby Brown, My Prerogative, which is actually my favorite Bobby song. No, it was it was another song by Bobby I like more. I'm trying to remember.
Every little step.
Yes, it really style. I love that video. So no, I mess with you, but
Mm.
Bobby was my favorite from Bobby and Johnny Gill, my favorite from New Edition. I like New Edition, but it was Bobby. I like Velvet DeVoe, but it but it was Bobby and Johnny. They're like the two favorite. But if I had to choose one back in the day to go see, it would have been Bobby.
Mm.
Now it'd be Johnny because I think Johnny actually performed live in concert, which he still sound like he sound back then.
Yeah.
But what did y'all think about the New Jack Swing era when that came into effect?
That's me all
I
day.
know that's you all day.
That's me all day.
When you think of when you
Just
think,
got paid Friday night.
oh,
Come
that's still the song to this day. Cause you get paid on
Exactly.
Friday, so that's still my
Man.
song.
No, Teddy did his thing. I love everything about it.
Yeah.
Everything about it. From movies. I feel like for me, when it comes to music, that's one genre or era that is me,
Okay.
hands down. I love my R&B, but that New Jack Swing,
That New Jack
I
Swing.
can't get enough of it.
That New Jack Swing hit different.
To this
Love,
day.
love, love, love,
Yes.
love New Jack Swing. That's probably
To this day.
one of my favorite eras
Okay.
in black music. Teddy, Teddy's the goat. Teddy's the goat. I mean, it's just so much I can say. So when I put the matches together, like anytime I'm doing anything between like 87 and 93, like I know like that was going to get a lot of engagement because I feel like for the masses that was such a fun experimental time in music because it crossed R&B with hip hop elements and it was just something that was never done before and it
Yeah.
just sounded so different. And you had so many acts that kind of came out of it. You know, Key Sweat came out of it. Bobby had already went solo bit and dropped the project, but that first project he did once he left Blue Edition ain't do shit.
Mm-mm.
So, you know, they had to go back to the drawing
His
board.
girlfriend was my song.
Yeah, I love that song too. And Drop Don't Be Cruel, I'll Be Sure. Then you had Guy and all those other groups. Like one of my favorite New Jack songs, which was probably a little bit bigger back then, but I feel like it's underrated now. And this group today. You know, a lot of people might know them from the song "Why You Getting Funky on Me," which is from the House Party
Mhm.
soundtrack. But my favorite song by them is "Him or Me,"
Okay.
and you can that it is man Teddy man it's something about that bass line. It was like simple, but and then it's like the harmonies,
Yeah.
man, like Teddy on the vocals or whatever, you know, me, him,
Mhm.
me. And it's just like that, man. I wish I could have experienced that era in real time. I love everything about it. The fashion at that
Oh, for
time.
sure.
It was just, yeah, I just love everything about
Yeah.
New Jack Swing
Love
era.
it. What about you?
Yeah, everything y'all said I can pick it back up of, but it was to me, it was the start of the trend to open up doors for the 90s because it started a whole new wave for the 90s.
Right.
And it started a whole new sound as well. There's a sound that we didn't hear in the 70s or the beginning
Oh
of
yeah,
the
no.
80s, and it changed the dynamic of how music flowed.
Right. And even with the 70s and 60s and early 80s, like you wanted to that, especially like the late 70s, I feel like that type of music makes you want to move. In the New Jack Swing, like it was the same way, but it was just like a whole new face for it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it don't matter what from New Jack Swing
Yeah.
come on, like you gonna wanna
Mhm.
move, like you're gonna wanna move to it.
Yeah.
Right. And like I said, that's I love that. It just I'm a Teddy Riley fan, so whatever he touched, I ain't gonna say whatever he touched. Majority of what he touches go. Because I'm gonna tell you, I was not a big fan of Blackstreet. I like him, but I wasn't a huge fan.
That's
Yeah.
more what 90s, but I
But
Mhm.
love
he was part of that, so
yeah,
that's
I
why I
know.
just said
I love
I wasn't
Blackstreet.
really
The
I
way they
wasn't. They was good, but it was like I'm.
Yeah, I feel like that too. And with Blackstreet, I'm not sure how much total albums that they came out with,
I
but
like Teddy, but it's a group.
that second album that they came out with, I think it's like another level. It's like with the black, it's like almost like it's like outer space, but it's just
Right.
like black with "Don't Leave Me, Girl." Now that album itself is pretty decent, but like I'm not like
Yeah.
I share the same sentiments about like like I'm not overly crazy
I
over it.
like Teddy more as a producer than an artist.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
yeah.
Oh
definitely,
yeah.
yeah,
When
definitely.
100%.
it's like, and then we're about to touch on this in a second, but I'm finna jump ahead to one part, then I'm gonna go back to this other one. We talking about producers, and I think to me one of the best producing songs of all time that's really up there, and I love this song to this day. And I think it could be it's in 90s, it could be I think it's 80s. You can tell me I'm wrong, and I'm on this, but it just stands out. Quincy Jones, with what's the song? Secret Garden. Is that 80s? That's 89.
Yeah,
89.
89,
89.
90. I
And then
think that
that
album that
that song.
he did came out like very late 89, and I think Seer Garden dropped as a single like that January of 90.
Okay, yeah, I know it was on the borderline, but
Yeah.
it's just that to me.
Yeah, Secret
It's
Garden is something else all in itself.
I just that whole thing with Barry White, Elder was it
Yeah.
Elderbar? It just was
I'll Be Sure was on
yeah,
it as well.
that because I know we go about to talk about Teddy on, but we're about to talk about Quincy Jones shortly. So it just brought it up to it was thinking of producers, and just to me, Teddy and Quincy are like the pioneers behind, and Jimmy Jam and Taylor. I ain't gonna take
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm about to say,
not
like,
gonna take
Jam
hold on.
and Lewis,
Let me not.
Yeah.
shout out. I'm gonna say
So-
shout out to Jimmy Jam
They
because
Jimmy Jam and Taylor Lewis.
he he shows a lot of love to Soul Faces.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jimmy
and
Jam.
yeah,
I'm not
he
gonna take
shows
it.
a lot of
Actually,
love to Soul
I'm gonna
Faces.
bring it back. Let me bring back
Yeah.
Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis is my number one because
Cause they
they
up there
got
with your
they
girls,
by my
New
girl.
Edition.
No
Yeah.
addition, Bobby. They were
Yeah,
with Bobby. They Johnny. So
and
I'm not taking. I'm no. If y'all see this, no, I got Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis as number one on my list.
yeah,
I
look, they
love
up there.
Quincy, but
They're
Jimmy
up
Jam and Terry
there.
Lewis is number
Yeah,
one.
definitely
Quincy
up
would be
there
number
for me.
two. Your boy Kelly would be number three. Those are my top three. I know I just brought out producers. We jumping all around,
Yeah,
but
Jam and
you know,
Lucen, they came out of the time with
yeah.
Prince, and I know we didn't really dig too much into that because I understand the flow of how stuff was going, but yeah, like Prince definitely had his impact,
Yeah.
in the 80s, and it's just different connections with people. But yeah, Jam and Lewis, like they they got their certain stamp.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was easy for them to evolve. And I think that's one thing that I appreciate about them is that the sound of their production like evolved because you can listen to what they did with the SOS band in the
Right.
early 80s and it don't sound nothing like what they did in 86 with Janet. You know what I'm saying? Like by the time we get to the 90s and they're still producing for Janet and Boyz II Men and everybody else,
Yeah.
like it don't sound nothing like the 80s. And that's the thing that I love the most about them.
I love their signature look too.
Yeah.
They got that signature look. Like I
Mhm.
just love the trench coat with the
Mhm.
hat and everything. And Terry Lewis, they had the jerk curl. I love that. I was like, man, I
Yeah.
love their style. It just
Mhm.
Yeah,
and,
it's real smooth.
and then they very, very humble.
Yes.
You could tell.
Yes.
You could. I'm be honest. I don't know if y'all, but I could tell by listening to a person interview if they humble or not,
Yeah.
or if they cocky. You could tell and just listen to them. You probably could see Jimmy and Jimmy down, James. I'm getting you can see him in person, or you can see Terry in person. They probably be the coolest people you sit down and talk to. There probably won't be no arrogance or no cockiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
Just
I
humble.
said, I've had interactions with Jimmy Jam, Mr. Harris, because he's older than me, so I give him that respect. But I did a series where I was highlighting producers, and they were probably one of the first set that I did were set of producers I did was Jamin Lewis, Teddy Riley, R. Kelly, Timbaland, and the Neptunes. So they were like the first set that I did. And Jimmy Jam, he reposted my stuff on
Wasn't
his
he like your
story.
first celebrity follower or something?
Yeah, like he followed me
Yeah.
back and was resharing my stuff, and even like in the DMs, like he would just respond. He might not
Mhm.
like have a full out message, but
Yeah.
he'll like react to a message or whatever that I put. Very, very humble, and I just
Yeah.
appreciate it. It just do something to me
Yeah.
every time because I just
I was
have
just like, wow,
the
me.
right. I just
Mhm.
have such of the utmost respect for them and how I really started tapping into them. Remember, I was telling y'all about the videos that my mom had bought us,
Mhm.
and so they did a whole bunch of Janet stuff, and so we looking in the thing and you see the credits. Just, who's Flight Tom, uh James Harris the third, and Terry Lewis. I'm like, well, who is this? And at that time I'm like 7, but eventually, you do research, you get a little older, you understand more,
Right.
but yeah, so I just always fell in love
Yeah,
with
big props
their
to them.
style. Like Janet, you said Janet's your girl. Like the intro to Nasty,
Yeah.
I'm like that drum pattern
Mhm.
little thing they got in the beginning. I'm just like, man, like they were just on a
Mhm.
sick,
It's
like
sick.
sick. Like they did their big one. They always did.
Yeah.
Oh,
If Jimmy Jam or Terry Lewis watching it, y'all watch. I just want to tell you real quick. I was disappointed when y'all let Jermaine Dupri do the first half of 20YO. That album. I was hugely because that was tragic. Y'all should do the whole project. I'm just saying the whole project. Cause the second half of the project, Jimmy and Terry was on the whole second half. The second half is better than the first half. I just gotta say, I was just hugely disappointed with that. But if y'all watching this, just letting you know, Janet McGirl, y'all, everybody know this, but everybody know 20YO. I was not happy with Jimmy with Jermaine Dupri jumping on that because Jermaine Dupri just really messed up the whole groove of the album. But some of the top producers we talked about Teddy Riley, we talked about Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, we talked about Quincy Jones. Are there any other producers that really stand out to y'all in the 80s that really
Kashif,
who?
Kashif,
Okay.
he was an artist, and he did like songwriting and producing. What was that song he had? Oh gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Y'all know the song when y'all hear it. Um, Love don't turn me down. I just got to have you.
Mm-mm.
Man, y'all know it. But anyway, he produced You Give Good Love by Whitney Houston.
I do know that, yeah.
Yeah.
He's done some stuff, and then it's another guy. I don't know if it's like Michael Nuranda something or Nuranda, whatever. But he produced like a lot of like popular stuff in the 80s, and then he did like Shanice, like I Love Your Style. I mean, I Love Your Smile.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was producing?
I would
Rick
about to tell you.
James. Rick James, of course. Tina Marie. I don't think a lot of people knew that Tina Marie was producing her own stuff. Like
Mm.
she did Square Biz, like which
I love
her
Square
mom
Biz.
was just sick for that. Like that's probably one of my favorite
Yeah.
80
Now
songs
that's who's
ever.
invited to the cookout. I know she's not here any longer, but
She bad.
that's my girl.
She's not
Okay.
Paula do.
No, I don't. I only know her for choreography and
She can dance at your cookout though. Teach
no,
I
everybody.
don't even
not
have
even
like a
that.
Paula Abdul song that I
No.
like.
Straight up now, tell me, do you really
I've
want to
never been a
love
fan of that
me
song. I
forever?
mean,
Oh,
Cold
oh,
Hearted
oh.
Snake is okay.
Cold
And I
hearted
think
snake.
I grew to like Cold Hearted Snake because I did marching band. And
Mm,
so a lot of bands
yeah,
have done arrangements to Cold Hearted Snake, and that made me like the song.
yeah.
But,
Pebbles invited.
I
She
mean,
a little
she a
shady,
Virgo.
but right, look, a
Yeah,
little shady, but I
she's
mean,
a Virgo. So yeah,
She's a lot. She real shady.
give me Pebbles over
Paula.
Paula. Yeah.
What about Vanessa Williams? She over
Oh
there.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, she can come.
She come.
yeah.
Yeah,
Save the
That's
best
my
flag.
girl.
yeah. Who?
I didn't.
No, I'm just
Oh,
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that song.
But
My song by Vanessa Williams is "Dreaming."
mm-hmm.
dreaming.
I like the right stuff too, but "Dreaming" is probably like my favorite song.
Boy,
Yeah.
And I like the Comfort Zone too.
I would want to go to come.
Oh God. Okay. What's who we about to talk about? Mike and Prince.
I'm thinking about Vanessa Williams. That video, that black and white video, boy, she was okay. No, she was gorgeous.
And she still
She still,
is.
Mhm.
Yes.
she looked good. I'm gonna say, okay, I love you, Vanessa. Love you, Vanessa. That go to the conference. Okay, so let's we run out of time, so we go wrap this the 80's up. Some of the key points we talk about Michael Prince. We ain't talking much about Prince, but Prince had his impact on the
Oh,
80's
for
with
sure.
Yeah.
we talk about Whitney, Janet, we talk about the New Jack Swing. If there's one thing you could look at from the 80's that really got you hooked, what would it be? What would you say? The one thing that really impacted the 80's the most for you?
New Jack Swing.
New Jack Swing. I'm assuming New Jack.
Definitely New Jack Swing. But I feel like my first knowledge into the 80's was probably New Edition. My mama was a very huge.
She was a candy girl.
Yes, ma'am. My mama is the OG candy girl. Yeah. My mom is an
Yeah.
OG candy girl. Like even her and her friends, like
Mhm.
they was the
Popcorn
candy
love.
girls
Popcorn,
in
yeah.
school. Like when they Letterman jacket, my mama got candy girl like
Yeah.
under her name.
I know that's right.
Yeah, so she was really big into New Edition. So like that was like my first kind of like
I love New Edition.
knowledge into the 80's. And my mom, she grew up and graduated in the 80's. So she was my first introduction
And
into
their
the 80's.
biopic on BET. Was it
Yeah.
BET?
Oh yeah, that was
Perfect.
flawless. Like that was
Perfect.
flawless. And like the same tapes I was talking about, my mama have a New Edition tape like that
Perfect. Tell her let
with
me
all the
let me
music
see it.
videos on it. And yeah.
I think mine's were more, even though I would that stood out, I would say Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Quincy Jones were like really that stood out to me in the 80's more because they produced some of my favorite artists
Yeah.
and they helped write some of the best tracks from the 80's.
Like
Now,
Human by the Human League, I'll run that out. I'll run that clean out. That's one of my favorites.
so time for my favorite part of the show. Our top five, our personal top five from the 80's.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna start with number five. And I'm gonna go first on my number five. My number five it's kind of like a tie between it was hard for me to pick these two between who was 5 and 6, so I just made them top. Luther and Whitney. They're my top. They're number five. They're time for number five.
Are we speaking on vocals or just in
Who
general?
you know what your preference, however you want to do it.
Oh,
Like if they was alive, that's who I want to go see Whitney.
yeah, I would go with my boys, New Edition.
Who would just be
New
number? Okay.
Edition.
My top. Oh, we doing it one.
Five. We doing five.
Number 5.
Oh, mine
No.
isn't in any order.
Yeah, it's not mine's never in any order because it's so hard because I
Yeah.
love music so much to kind of
90s will be in order for me.
pinpoint.
Okay.
But I would Keith Sweat.
Hmm.
We didn't talk enough about Keith, but yeah.
I like the little nasal singer. He's
Yeah,
all right.
that debut album is
The shade.
Oh, I love Keith.
I know
Now.
what the shade.
yeah, probably Keith Sweat because him and Teddy did their thing
Yeah.
on that debut album. Like, How Deep Is Your Love, the intro to that. I'm just like, what headspace were y'all
You
in when
gotta
y'all
be a
did that?
genius, like for real.
Like, yeah.
For real, for real.
Okay, so number 4 on my list would be New Edition.
Okay.
I love New Edition. I mean, everything they to me they started the boy band. They really did start
Yeah.
the new style boy band of dancing and
Mhm.
singing because we
Yeah.
really didn't get that back in the 70s. We know we had instruments, so they were dancing, but it
Right.
wasn't doing all
And
these
then
intricate
boy
moves.
bands, all you had pretty much in the 70s was the Jacksons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they were like a revived
jazz. Yeah,
version,
that was
you know.
definitely.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it to Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah, I love him. Hmm.
Michael as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my number 3, which we haven't even mentioned them at all, but this is actually my favorite self-contained band of all time. Maze featuring Frankie Beverly.
Oh,
I
Yeah, you
love
should have
them.
brought them up in the 70s.
Yeah, but I have seen them in concert 4 times.
yeah.
And all 4 times my mom
That's that good
went to.
cookout music. For
We
sure.
we is like Frankie Beverly, his music. Golden Time of
Yeah,
Days, which
yes,
one of
that's
my
one of my
favorite.
favorites.
I love
Happy Feelings, I can
Happy
run that into the
Yeah.
ground.
Oh yeah.
Happy Feelings in the
Yeah, I can run that.
air.
Southern girl. They talking about me.
Southern girl.
Can't Get Over You is
Yeah.
and they were that's
Oh yeah.
89, you know what I'm saying? So they went from the 70s all the way through.
That's my favorite self-contained band of all time. I would go
Yeah.
see. I seen them like I said. I paid money to go see them. Me and my mom actually seen them on front row. We was front row. I bought front row seat for me and my mom to go see them, and I didn't even tell her. It was a surprise. I said we're going to see the concert, and I'm like okay. And I ain't never tell her what the ticket was. I said let's go. And we get on, we walking, and she said okay. Well, we're going to say just come on. I said keep on walking. And then we go through one section. We got to show them tickets. She said okay. The lady said keep on going. I'm so okay, walking. And then we get into the front. She said, "What we sitting over here?" I said, "Keep on walking down." I showed the other lady the ticket. And she said, "The seat's up there." Mama said, "Where?" Then I went over to the front. She said, "No way." She said, "When?" I said, "Yeah, we're on front row." She said, "Oh," and my mom like thrilled. We were right there in front of. We were directly in front of Frankie Bell, and she loved Frankie Bell. Amazing.
I wish I can do that for my mom with New Edition.
Yeah. I mean, you
Or
could.
like
I mean, they
this
ain't
is
the
a
age.
goal for me. Like I want to let's say like maybe like her 60th birthday, like maybe like have her a big function and pay New Edition to come perform.
Mm.
That's that's something that I would love to do for my
Yeah.
mom.
You gonna get there. Don't worry. It's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
You
It's
are.
gonna
Oh
happen.
yeah. Oh,
You say your mom's 60?
I said maybe for her 60th.
For her.
How long is?
That would probably be
I
a
ain't trying to be nosy, but
few years.
okay. 'Cause I was trying to say
Yeah.
how. I was trying to see how old New Edition gonna be by then. I'm like, hold
But
on.
she's the same age as
Yeah.
them.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
she's the same age as
Yeah.
them.
I ain't know if your mom like in
Mhm.
her late 40s or early. I was like, hold
No.
on, I wasn't New Edition be able to move on
No,
stage.
she in her
Yeah.
middle 50s. She the
Okay.
same age as them.
Okay. Number 3, or just your third choice.
Oh, Bobby.
I mean, okay, but Bob probably your number 1 though. If you had to choose one, probably most likely. No, it's not for the 80s.
Anita Baker.
Oh, yeah, okay. I like that. I got Nita. I like Nita. I love her voice. Everybody get on her about her voice. I love Nita. Nita Baker got a good voice. People like,
Yeah.
she raspy. She wet
We
to me.
love a good alto.
Huh?
We love a good alto.
There you go. My number 2, of course, is the king to me of everything, Michael Jackson. I mean,
Oh,
hands
we on
down.
number 2. I thought we were already about to be on number 5.
No, well, I was starting from 5 to go to 1.
Oh, how many else?
You said this your 4th about to come up, but Michael
Oh.
Jackson, I always want. I wish there's one person I said before he died. I wish I could have seen him in concert. I never got to see Michael in concert because I would love to see him perform. And
Yeah, I wish that was something that I would have been able to experience.
Solo, I would definitely choose Johnny Gill.
okay, my favorite song by him is My. Right? That's
I mean, no shade, but that's like a typical answer.
no, but I know all his music. I hear all him, but that song right there because I love the put on your eye here. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I know this is random, but I think like one of my favorite Johnny Gill songs is a Christmas song.
Yes.
Give Love on Christmas Day.
I
Is
know
that
he.
song not great?
Yeah, he did his big one on that rendition. Yeah, he
I like
did.
Lady du Jour.
And
I
I
just
think
like all his songs.
I think Jam and Lewis produced that
The
too.
Christmas song.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Produced a lot.
that is a good song. He blew on that one.
Oh, we didn't talk about Alexander O'Neal. He was very big.
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
80s.
That's who I was thinking about when we
Yeah.
were talking about.
You would think about Bobby. That's fine.
Because that's my boy. But okay, Alexander, hey, whatever.
What's your number?
I'll do Prince.
Prince. Okay. And my number one. Well, I mean, say it. We already know who my number one is. Janet. I mean, hand down, I'm going Janet.
Yeah.
I don't see her color 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 6, 5 or 6.
She's not, like I said, this isn't ranked for me, but I choose Nippy over anybody. Miss Whitney Houston.
Okay.
I
thought
know
y'all.
her.
I
Look,
thought you were talking
her
about
name is
Nippy
Nippy.
Russell.
No,
thought
I
you
know
were talking
her. But I know her, so I call her Nippy.
Nippy. Okay. I ain't Nippy. Whitney did. No, I never do that to Whitney. Which Whitney did you know?
Behave.
I'm sorry, rest in peace to the voice.
Yeah. My number one?
Yeah.
Did I say Michael already?
Yeah, you said Michael.
Oh, you did?
He said Michael.
Oh,
Did I say Luther?
No, you didn't say Luke.
Probably Luther.
Are you gonna be? Are you gonna be?
Yeah,
Are
probably Luther.
Are you gonna be? Are you
'Cause
gonna be?
Luther definitely did his big one in the 80s.
Yeah.
He really-
Well, I ain't trying to rush it up because we're pressed for time on this, but I appreciate y'all real quick. Tell me who you think is the most overhyped artist from the 80s.
Overhyped? Prince.
We got the same one. We got the same one. I told you Michael be controversial. Prince. Oh my God.
Overhyped
Prince for
We got
sure.
the same one.
for me. But I don't disagree with that because
He's very talented though. Like
yes, very talented.
instrumentals,
Because
instrumentals.
comparing Prince to Michael, give me Michael over Prince because for me it's about quality over quantity.
Mhm.
Michael coming into the 80s with Off the Wall because that released late summer of 79. So he already came in to the 80s with his foot on his neck. He only had what two, three other album releases, and Prince dropped maybe in the 80s, maybe about like 8 projects. But most of those projects are you skip through most of them.
Yeah.
Whereas all 3 of those Michael albums, you can probably run them from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Thriller for sure.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So like
Who's your so yours Prince?
my over.
You got to listen to me.
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is your boy DT. Thank you for joining us for the rhythm of the 80s. I want to thank my guest once again, Keisha and SoulFace Music, for being my guest. Make sure you check out our next episode. We'll be talking about the 90s, and we're going to get to hear Keisha real top 5 from 1 to 5 because she got them in order this time. And so we're not going to hear about Bobby Brown. No, I'm just kidding. It's your boy DT. Check me out at the top of the screen. You can see all my platforms. Make sure you go to SoulFace Music.
SoulFace's Media.
SoulFace Media. I'm sorry. SoulFace Media. I apologize. I'm throwing it out. Wrapping up. And Keisha, I appreciate y'all once again.
Thank you.
All right. See y'all on the next episode.
It's DT. You have just now listened to the most talked about podcast in the country. DT, Unfiltered, Uncensored. Thank you for tuning in and see you next time.